A new Formula One season ushers in new possibilities and new competitions while also renewing old rivalry. Will the 2022 Formula One season see a new driver crowned as champion? Or will Max Verstappen retain his hard-earned crown from the 2021 season? Today's video looks at whether Mercedes' new driver, George Russell, will beat teammate Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen to claim a Formula One title. George Russell is now a Mercedes Formula One driver, which seems like one of the most logical moves in the sport's history. This year, George Russell's formidable ability will be put to the test when he competes against Lewis Hamilton in his maiden season as a Mercedes driver. After joining the squad as a rookie in 2019, the 24-year-old established himself as one of the grid's most brilliant young stars during his 3-year spell with the Silver Arrows. Russell drew a lot of attention in the 2021 season, following a string of outstanding performances, the highlight of which was a spectacular podium finish in Belgium after qualifying on the front row in torrential conditions. The man from Kings Lynn went on to finish third in the Russian Grand Prix, but he could not prevent himself from falling down the order, finishing 10th. Will George Russell give Hamilton a run for his money at Mercedes? Russell's potential is apparent, but he must replace a fantastic understudy in Valtteri Bottas and take on the driver who is on track to become the most successful in the championship's history in every quantifiable area. He is regarded as a more severe threat to Hamilton's dominance than Valtteri Bottas during his 5-year stint at Mercedes. George Russell will be anxious to make an immediate impact at Mercedes by establishing his worth alongside Hamilton. Russell might battle his new teammate for the Drivers' Championship crown in the months ahead. Meanwhile, the new regulations for 2022 are expected to partly level the playing field, with drivers likely to adjust their driving styles to adapt to the sweeping rule changes in place this year. Russell might have a fantastic season if he can channel the fighting spirit of Nico Rosberg, who piped Hamilton to the end of season honors back in 2016. To have a chance against his former opponent, the German has already revealed the secrets of his spectacular victory against Hamilton. To have a chance against his former opponent, the German has already revealed the secrets of his spectacular victory against Hamilton, arguing that quality and consistency are necessary for equal measure. Will Mercedes allow Russell to beat Hamilton? This is a vital issue to address at this time. Lewis received his big break in 2007 when he was assigned to McLaren with hotshot Fernando Alonso. He was 22 at the time, and Alonso was 26, so there was no significant age gap, despite Alonso having won 2 world championships. They squabbled throughout the season, but in the end, it was a toss-up, and Hamilton came close to winning the Drivers' Championship. Hamilton, 36, is a 7-time world champion with more pole positions and race victories than any other in Formula One history. He never had to drive a back-of-the-grid car, though. George Russell is 23 years old and has 3 years of experience driving for Williams in cars that aren't even close to the best on the grid. Russell jumps at any chance that comes his way. It's always easier to make mistakes when the car isn't as excellent as it should be, and there have been a few of those. However, you can learn from each of them, and it's preferable to do so before your big break. As we all know, Hamilton is no slouch and isn't ready to hang up his helmet just yet, so we are sure there will be some clashes between them. On the other hand, Russell needs to come in with his elbows firmly planted in the air and command respect from the start. He won't beat Hamilton every weekend in the exact vehicle, and there is presently no one who can, but given the car, we expect to see him on the podium frequently. What does Valtteri Bottas think of George Russell's chances? Despite being one of the best drivers in the sport, Bottas was frequently second best at Mercedes due to Hamilton's dominance. After joining Mercedes for the 2022 season, George Russell has been told that he has no chance of beating new colleague Lewis Hamilton. The 24-year-old will, however, be accompanied by one of the sport's finest ever drivers when he joins 7-time world champion Hamilton at the Silver Arrows. The man who preceded Russell, Valtteri Bottas, says the newcomer has no chance of becoming Mercedes' top driver in their new car. I don't see anyone else defeating Lewis soon in the same machinery, Bottas, who had switched to Alfa Romeo, told The Sun. Because George has been with the Mercedes for a long time, he will adjust quickly. However, defeating Lewis is a difficult task. That is something I have personally experienced. It's the consistency with which he delivers his performances. Russell will put on a show from the start of his Mercedes career. Going up against Hamilton for an entire season on every good circuit F1 has to offer is a far cry from a one-off appearance on a short, weird track in a situation when nothing can be expected of him. Russell should be able to handle the transition very well. The 2021 season of Verstappen is only the latest example of a top-flight driver settling into a world championship fight quickly, and Russell might be in the same league. What is it that gives Hamilton the upper hand? Russell provided a strong indication of his outright talent in Bahrain last year, coming out on top in a weekend versus Bottas, but that doesn't guarantee he'll be on the same level as Hamilton. That's not to imply Russell will end up in the same predicament as Bottas, though. Russell's drive and motivation will be at an all-time high now that he's switched to a World Championship winning team and a championship contending car, and he'll no doubt use it to carve out some incredible performances. Still, with the new regulations in place, it's more likely that Hamilton will maintain his lead. Ralf Schumacher believes George Russell can get out of the blocks quickly and pressure Mercedes' Lewis Hamilton. It's challenging to make an impression when you're at the rear of the grid. However, Russell has done just that since being promoted to Formula One. During their time together, he whitewashed Robert Kubica in qualifying, while Nicholas Latifi chased shadows attempting to keep up with Russell for the past 2 years. Will Russell be able to overcome Max Verstappen? Russell can compete with Hamilton, and while there's a chance he won't beat him, he should pick up a few victories and stake his claim as Mercedes' future driver. However, his deal should cause concern for Mercedes' primary adversary, Red Bull. If the two teams continue at the top of the standings and Sergio Perez's form does not improve dramatically, Red Bull could be in trouble. At the very least, it will be in the Constructors' Championship race. Russell showed he could fight at the front during the 2020 Sakir Grand Prix, and he appears to have a better chance of beating Verstappen than Perez does Hamilton. Of course, Russell has a better chance of beating Hamilton than Perez, who has a near zero chance of beating Verstappen in a straightforward race. George Russell was outstanding in the face of adversity, even when he was in his early adult years. While most remember Russell's stunning success in 2018, some recall him having reliability issues, and at one point approximately halfway through the season, he was 36 points behind Lando Norris. That year, he had his worries, but he kept reminding himself that the people who were looking knew what to look for. He referred to Mercedes and Toto Wolff, who were aware that his performances were strong and that car troubles were slowing his progress. Russell was relieved of the pressure of his mechanical gremlins due to this support. He went on to dominate the second half of the season. Aside from that, it's evident that Russell isn't nearly the whole product yet. He has searing speed, but he still needs to work on his beginning laps, which will be even more critical now that he is with Mercedes. Depending on the circumstances, Russell can beat Hamilton and Verstappen on rare occasions and will undoubtedly serve as a great backup, bringing in points when his teammate falters. He still has a lot of work and development to do before he's in a position to outperform Formula One's most successful driver consistently. While some may see new regulations as an advantage for a driver switching teams, anyone sticking put will gain from knowing the team members and operations. Hamilton will have an advantage because he was involved in developing this season's Mercedes. Russell has the element of surprise on his side, and considering Hamilton's age, it's worth recalling that this might play into his hands. He can easily beat Hamilton at Mercedes. Do you enjoy Formula One and want to learn more about it? What are your thoughts on George Russell joining Lewis Hamilton's team this season? Leave your thoughts in the comments section. Remember to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like if you enjoyed it.